Have you ever carried a pain so heavy you can't explain it? Like a quiet shadow following you everywhere, even on your best days? Maybe you've tried to bury it with work, distractions, or success, but it's still there, whispering in the background. What if the key to unlocking that pain isn't out there somewhere in the future, but buried deep in your past? Today, I want to talk about something most people don't dare to face: the powerful, complicated, and sometimes painful relationship we all have with our mothers. Before you were even born, before you learned to speak or walk, your mother's voice, emotions, and love, or lack of it, shaped who you are at the core. Whether your mother was kind or distant, supportive or critical, that early connection still echoes inside you, influencing your self-worth, your fears, and the way you love others. This video isn't about blame or shame. It's about uncovering the truth that sets you free. If you're ready to confront the hidden wounds that have held you back and start healing from the inside out, then stay with me. Because this might be the most important conversation you'll ever have with yourself. Let's begin. 1. The first voice you ever heard. Before you had a name, before you opened your eyes, before the world even knew you existed, you were already listening, you were already feeling, you were already learning. Inside your mother's womb, your life had already begun. Her body was your home. Her heartbeat was the first rhythm that gave you comfort. The steady thump of her heart was your first lullaby, playing day and night, surrounding you in a warm, safe world. Even before you knew words, you knew her. Her voice was the first sound that reached your tiny ears. When she spoke, you listened. When she laughed, you felt joy. When she cried, you felt the sadness in your tiny body. You didn't understand what was happening, but you felt everything. Your connection with your mother didn't start after you were born. It began long before that. And it wasn't just physical. It was emotional. It was energetic. It was spiritual. Her emotions became your environment. If she was calm, you floated in peace. If she was afraid, your little heart beat faster. If she was stressed, your world became tight and tense. Your mother's emotional world was your first world. And that world left a deep mark on your body, your brain, and your spirit. This is where your story really begins. Not in the hospital, not when you took your first breath, but inside your mother. Her voice and energy were your introduction to life. That's why your bond with your mother is so powerful, even if it's complicated. For some people, that bond feels beautiful. Their mothers gave them warmth, attention, and safety. Their earliest memories are full of love. But for others, that bond is full of pain. Maybe their mothers were distant, angry, critical, or absent. Maybe they were too young to care for a child. Maybe they had pain of their own that they never healed, and that pain was passed on. The truth is, your experience with your mother, whether good, bad, or mixed, matters. It shapes the way you see the world. It affects how you trust people, how you form relationships, how you handle stress, and even how you talk to yourself. If you felt safe in your mother's arms, you may find it easier to feel safe in the world. If you didn't feel loved, you may still struggle to feel lovable. And many people carry these patterns into adulthood without even realizing it. Some people say, "It's in the past, I've moved on." But have they really? If your past is still hurting your present, then it is not truly in the past. If you still feel insecure, anxious, or deeply sad without knowing why, then something from your early life may still be unhealed. This is not about blaming your mother. It's about understanding the truth of your story. It's about connecting the dots between who you were as a child and who you are now. Only then can real healing begin. You deserve to feel whole. You deserve to understand why certain feelings keep returning. You deserve to know why some wounds never go away. And often, that understanding begins by going back to the very beginning, to the first sound, the first touch, the first voice you ever heard. That voice came from your mother. And no matter how far you've come, no matter how grown you are now, that voice still echoes in your heart. Sometimes as comfort, sometimes as pain, but always with a message. It's time to listen again, not with blame, but with awareness. Not to stay stuck in the past, but to finally grow beyond it. Your healing begins the moment you are willing to look back and truly see what shaped you. 2. What you learned from her without words. You might not remember every word your mother said to you when you were a child. Maybe you don't even remember all the things she did or didn't do. But what you do remember, deep inside your heart, is how she made you feel. Did you feel safe when she was near? Did you feel like you truly mattered to her? Did you feel loved for who you really were, not just for what you did or how well you behaved? These feelings stayed with you, even if you couldn't explain them. Children learn more than just words. They learn by watching their mother's face, by hearing the tone in her voice, by sensing the energy she gives off. They learn from her actions, but also from her silence. If your mother was often busy or distracted, you may have learned without anyone saying it that you are not important enough to get her attention. If she was critical or harsh, you may have started to doubt yourself and believe you were never good enough. But if she was loving, patient, and kind, you learned that the world can be a safe place, and that love is something you deserve. Even when your mother didn't speak, she was teaching you important lessons. Maybe she never said, "I'm proud of you," or "I love you." Or maybe she said those words but didn't show them through her actions. As a child, this may have been confusing. You probably tried to understand her feelings and figure out how to get her love. You might have worked hard to be perfect or quiet, hoping to win her approval. Sometimes children believe it is their job to fix their mother's sadness or anger. But the truth is, none of this was your fault. Now, as an adult, you have the chance to look back with new eyes. You can begin to see the full picture, not just the parts that hurt, but also the reasons behind them. You can understand that your mother was doing her best, even if she didn't have the tools or the support she needed. And you can see how those early experiences shaped who you are today. Many of the patterns in your life, how you speak to yourself, how you allow others to treat you, how you face challenges or failures, are connected to that early relationship with your mother. The bond you shared with her is like a blueprint or a map that guides how you connect with everyone else. If that bond was painful, it can cause pain in your other relationships too. You might find yourself pushing people away or staying too close to people who hurt you. You might struggle to trust or feel unworthy of love. Understanding this is the first step to changing it. When you see that your fears, your doubts, and your struggles have roots in your early experiences, you gain power. You can start to rewrite the story. You can learn to be kinder to yourself. You can set new boundaries and choose healthier relationships. You can heal old wounds that have kept you stuck for too long. Remember, healing is a journey. It's not about blaming your mother or feeling guilty. It's about recognizing the deep influence she had on your life, both the good and the hard, and deciding to grow beyond it. You have the strength inside you to break the cycle and create a new way of loving yourself and others. 3. The wounded mother and her silent legacy. No mother is perfect, not one. Every mother carries her own story, a story filled with pain, struggles, and wounds that often remain hidden beneath the surface. Maybe your mother had a difficult childhood. Maybe she faced hardships you have never heard about or understood. Maybe she never learned how to love herself fully. When someone doesn't love themselves, it becomes very hard for them to love others in a healthy way. This is not an excuse for the pain she caused you, but it can help you understand where her pain came from. A wounded mother can show her pain in many different ways. Some mothers become strict, believing that rules and control are the only way to protect their children. Some become distant or emotionally unavailable because their own feelings are too painful to face. Others become overprotective, trying to hold on tightly because they are afraid of losing you or failing as a mother. These behaviors come from a place of hurt and fear, not from a lack of love. Your mother may have tried to control you because she never felt in control of her own life. She may have demanded perfection because she was taught to be perfect, or punished when she was not. She may have felt ashamed of herself and, sadly, passed that shame on to you. Sometimes the hardest thing a wounded mother can do is to show love freely and without conditions. Instead, her pain became your pain, even if you didn't know it at the time. This is how emotional trauma travels through families. The pain of one generation often becomes the silent legacy passed to the next. The wounds that your mother carried in her heart became invisible chains around your own. Without realizing it, you may have taken on her fears, her doubts, and her insecurities. You may have repeated the same patterns she lived with. This cycle is quiet but powerful, shaping your thoughts, feelings, and actions long after childhood is over. But here is a powerful truth you need to hear. The cycle can stop with you. You have the power to break free from the past. Once you begin to understand your mother's pain, not to justify it, but to see it clearly, you can stop taking it personally. You can stop believing that you were the problem. You can stop carrying the heavy weight of not feeling enough. This understanding is the key to freedom. When you realize that your mother's harsh words or cold silence were a reflection of her own struggles, you start to see yourself differently. You begin to separate who you are from what you experienced. You understand that her pain was never about you, but about her own wounds. This new awareness gives you space to heal. Breaking this silent legacy is not easy. It takes courage and patience. It means facing uncomfortable feelings and memories you might have hidden away for years. It means forgiving, not to forget what happened, but to release yourself from the burden of pain. Forgiving your mother does not mean you accept hurtful behavior. It means you choose to stop carrying her pain as your own. When you break free, you open the door to a new way of living. You create a future where love is healthy, where you feel worthy, where you can build strong relationships based on trust and respect. You become the generation that ends the cycle of pain. Remember, healing begins with understanding. It begins when you stop blaming yourself and start seeing the whole story. Your mother's story and your own. You are not alone in this journey. Many have walked this path before you and found peace on the other side. You hold the key to change. You have the strength to rewrite your story. And with every step you take toward healing, you create a brighter, freer future, not just for yourself, but for the generations that come after you. 4. Reparenting the child. Inside you. If your mother could not give you what you needed, you might still carry an empty space inside your heart, a space that feels lonely and incomplete. This emptiness often shows up as a deep need for approval, attention, or love that no one else seems able to fill. It is a wound made long ago during your childhood, and its echoes can follow you into your adult life. But healing begins when you decide to return to that part of yourself, the inner child who still lives within you. Imagine for a moment a small version of yourself, maybe a little boy or girl who still waits quietly inside. That child is real and alive, even if you have forgotten about them. That child still wants to be seen and heard. That child still wants to be loved for exactly who they are, without having to prove anything or be perfect. When you close your eyes, you might even see the hurt or confusion in that child's face. You might remember the moments when you felt alone or afraid. This is your inner child, the most vulnerable part of you. Now here is the most important truth. You have the power to become the parent that little child needed but did not always get. You have the ability to care for yourself with kindness, patience, and understanding. This process is called reparenting. It means going back to nurture and protect that inner child, to give them the love and support they deserved. Reparenting is not easy. It takes courage to face your past and the feelings you tried to hide. It takes strength to stand up to the old voices inside your head that tell you you're not good enough, or you don't deserve love. But reparenting is also one of the most powerful things you can do. It is a gift to yourself, a way to heal wounds and grow stronger. When you begin reparenting, you speak to yourself with love instead of criticism. You learn to forgive yourself for mistakes or failures, just as a good parent would. Instead of blaming that small child inside for the pain you feel, you protect them. You set boundaries to keep yourself safe and peaceful. You stop trying to fix everything alone, and instead, you allow yourself to be cared for. Reparenting means taking responsibility for your healing. It means no longer waiting for someone else to give you what you need. Even if your mother or others could not provide love or acceptance, you can give those things to yourself now. You become your own safe place. This journey is not about blaming your mother forever. It's about understanding that she may have had her own struggles and limitations. It's about choosing to break free from the past and create a new relationship with yourself. Reparenting is a way to become whole, even if you didn't start that way. As you reparent yourself, you might find moments of sadness or anger. These feelings are part of healing. They are signs that you are facing what was once hidden. But you will also find moments of joy and peace. You will begin to trust yourself more. You will learn to love yourself more deeply. Reparenting is a process that takes time. It does not happen all at once. But each small act of kindness toward yourself builds strength. Each time you choose to care for your inner child, you are moving closer to healing. You have the power to rewrite your story. The love you give yourself today changes your future. It changes how you see the world, how you connect with others, and how you live your life. You become not only your own parent, but also your own protector and friend. Remember, the child inside you is waiting for your love. That child deserves to be healed and held with compassion. When you give yourself that gift, you begin to break the chain of pain. You create a new legacy, one of love, acceptance, and hope. 5. Forgiveness is freedom, not permission. Many people carry deep wounds caused by their mothers. Some of those wounds feel too painful to ever forgive. You may have heard yourself say, "I can never forgive my mother for what she did." And that is completely okay. Forgiveness is a personal choice, and it is never something you have to force. You are not weak if you struggle to forgive. You are human. But here is an important truth to understand. Forgiveness is not about your mother. It is about you. Forgiveness is not something you do for others. It is something you do for yourself. When you hold on tightly to anger, hate, or blame, you carry a heavy weight on your shoulders. You carry your mother's mistakes with you day after day. You allow her pain to live inside you, controlling your feelings and your life. Holding on to pain keeps you trapped. It keeps your heart locked in a cage. But forgiveness is the key that can unlock those chains. When you choose to forgive, you are not saying that what happened was okay. You are not saying that the hurt was fair or deserved. You are simply choosing to let go of the burden that keeps you tied to the past. Forgiveness means saying, "I refuse to let your actions define my life anymore." It means taking your power back. It means deciding that your happiness, your peace, and your growth matter more than holding on to pain. Forgiveness is an act of strength. It is a declaration that your future will not be ruled by past wounds. This does not happen overnight. Forgiveness takes time. Sometimes you may feel like forgiving is impossible. Sometimes it feels like you are giving your mother a free pass for her mistakes. But this is not permission. Forgiveness is freedom, not for her, but for you. Choosing peace over punishment is a courageous step. It is choosing to heal instead of hurting. It is choosing to grow instead of grieving forever. When you forgive, you open the door to a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Even if your mother is no longer alive, forgiveness is still possible. You can forgive her even if you never got the chance to say goodbye. You can speak to her in your heart, or write her a letter that you never send. You can cry out your pain, shout in your silence, or sit quietly with your feelings. What matters most is that you allow yourself to feel what is inside, express it honestly, and then release it. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. You will remember what happened, but you will no longer carry the weight of bitterness. You will learn to see your mother as a human being, with flaws and pain, just like you. This understanding can soften the hardest parts of your heart. When you forgive, you are not alone. Many people have walked this difficult path. You can find strength in knowing that forgiveness is a journey toward freedom, peace, and self-love. Imagine what your life could be like if you let go of anger and hurt. Imagine how much lighter you would feel. Imagine the new space you create inside yourself for joy, hope, and love. Forgiveness is the bridge to that new place. Remember, forgiveness is not about giving up. It is about taking back control. It is about healing your heart and freeing your soul. It is about saying to yourself, "I am ready to be free." You deserve that freedom. You deserve to live without the chains of past pain. And when you forgive, you take the first step toward that freedom. 6. Mother wounds show up in strange ways. Sometimes when you hear about mother wounds, you might think, this doesn't apply to me. My problems have nothing to do with my mother. You may believe your struggles come from somewhere else, or that your relationship with your mother was fine. But the truth is, mother wounds are tricky. They often hide in places you don't expect. They show up in strange ways, and they affect parts of your life you might never have connected to your past. Think for a moment about the way you live your life now. Do you feel like you have to be perfect all the time? Maybe you push yourself hard to get everything right, to avoid mistakes, or to meet everyone's expectations. This need to be perfect can be a sign that you never felt praised for just being yourself as a child. Maybe your mother didn't say, "I'm proud of you," or "You are enough." Instead, you learned that love came only with achievement or approval. This can make you tired, anxious, and afraid to fail. But underneath it all, there is a simple truth. You were enough all along. Or maybe you find it hard to trust people. You want to believe in others, but your heart holds back. You don't let people get too close. You might think, "I'm just careful," but this can be a sign of an old wound. You learned early on that the person who was supposed to protect you, the person you needed most, was not always safe. That pain made your heart close, and it still makes you hesitate to trust fully. You want to be loved, but you are scared it might hurt again. Do you sometimes push people away before they get too close? You might notice that you don't allow yourself to feel love freely. You might shut down when someone tries to connect with you deeply. This can come from the first experiences you had with love, when it was painful, unpredictable, or confusing. When love feels like danger, your heart learns to protect itself by building walls. These walls keep you safe, but they also keep you lonely. And what about guilt? Do you feel guilty for doing what is best for you? Maybe you often put others first, even when it hurts you. Maybe you say yes when you want to say no. This feeling can come from being told you were selfish or bad for wanting attention, care, or love as a child. The message you received was that your needs were not important. This makes it hard to set boundaries or take care of yourself now. Mother wounds don't always look like sadness or crying. Sometimes they show up as anger that feels too big to control. Sometimes they appear as fear or anxiety that keeps you awake at night. Sometimes they hide in the need to succeed so much that you forget why you started in the first place. This is called success addiction. When you chase achievement to fill an empty place inside, you think success will make you whole, but it never quite does. If you find yourself always chasing love, approval, or success without ever feeling satisfied, there is probably a wound underneath. The wound might be hidden deep inside, but it is there. It affects how you see yourself in the world. It shapes how you react to challenges, relationships, and opportunities. The good news is that once you begin to see these patterns, you can start to heal them. Awareness is the first step. When you understand that your struggles have a source, a mother wound, you can stop blaming yourself. You can start to be kind to your inner child and give yourself what you needed all along. Healing these hidden wounds is not easy, but it is possible. And it is worth it. Because when you heal, you free yourself from the strange ways those wounds have controlled your life. You open the door to love, peace, and happiness that come from within. 7. loving her without losing yourself. For many people, their relationship with their mother is complicated. It's not simple love or hate. It is a mix of feelings that can confuse and hurt you. You want to love her deeply because she is your mother. You want to please her because you want her approval and affection. But sometimes, loving her feels like it costs too much. It costs your peace, your happiness, your sense of self. You may feel trapped, like you are walking on eggshells, trying not to upset her or lose her love. This is one of the hardest places to be. Here is an important truth. It is okay to set boundaries, even with your mother. Boundaries are limits you put in place to protect your well-being. They are a way to say, "This is who I am, and this is what I need to feel safe and respected." Some people believe that setting boundaries with their mother means they are selfish or ungrateful. But that is not true. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love and courage. It shows that you respect yourself enough to take care of your peace. You are not a bad child for saying no when something hurts you. You are not a bad child for standing up for your feelings. You are not a bad child for needing space or time to heal. In fact, healthy love does not ask you to lose yourself. It does not ask you to ignore your feelings or sacrifice your well-being. True love respects both people, the giver and the receiver. Loving your mother does not mean you have to accept everything she does or says. You can love her and still say, "This is not okay." You can respect her and still make different choices for your life. You can care for her and still care for yourself first. This is called loving with healthy boundaries. It means you hold your love and your needs in the same hand, gently but firmly. Sometimes, loving your mother means understanding her limitations. Maybe she did the best she could with what she had. Maybe she was hurting too, even if she did not show it. When you see your mother as a human being, imperfect, fragile, and sometimes lost, you can feel more compassion. Compassion does not mean excusing hurtful behavior. It means recognizing that she had her own battles, and those battles affected how she treated you. Your mother gave you life. That is a sacred gift. It is a connection that no one else can replace. But now you are responsible for how you live that life. You decide how to move forward. You decide how to love and be loved. You decide what is healthy and what is harmful for you. Learning to love your mother without losing yourself is a journey. It takes time, patience, and courage. It may mean saying no to her sometimes, even if it feels difficult. It may mean choosing your mental and emotional health over pleasing her. It may mean walking away from toxic patterns and creating new, healthier ones. When you set boundaries with love and respect, you teach others how to treat you. You show the world that your feelings matter. You protect your peace and open space for healing. This is a powerful step in breaking the cycle of pain and creating a new story for yourself and your future. Remember, loving yourself is not selfish. Loving your mother is not about losing your identity. You can hold both truths at once. You can say, "I love my mother and I love myself too." You can create a life where both those loves exist in balance. Now, as you continue your journey, keep this in your heart. You have the right to protect your peace. You have the power to choose healthy love. And you have the strength to love your mother without losing yourself. 8. Healing starts with awareness. Healing is a journey, not a race. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't follow a perfect path forward. Sometimes healing moves slowly. Sometimes it feels like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That is okay. What matters most is that you start. And the very first step to healing is awareness. Awareness means paying attention to what is really going on inside you. It means looking at your feelings, your thoughts, and your memories without turning away. It means being honest with yourself, even when it is hard, because healing cannot happen without truth. Ask yourself some important questions. Take your time with these questions. Write your answers in a journal or speak them quietly to yourself. You might feel uncomfortable or emotional. That's normal. These questions are like keys that open doors to your inner world. What did I learn about love from my mother? Did she show you what love looks like? Or did love feel confusing or painful? Sometimes, what we learned about love is not what we hoped for. But awareness of what we learned is the first step to changing it. What did I learn about myself? Did you feel worthy? Did you feel like you mattered? Did you believe you were enough? Sometimes the messages we received about ourselves were wrong or unfair. Recognizing these messages helps us rewrite the story. What do I still carry that belongs to her, not me? Maybe you carry her fears, her doubts, or her anger. Maybe you carry feelings of guilt or shame that are not truly yours. Awareness helps you see what is yours and what is someone else's. What do I need to let go of? Holding on to pain, blame, or old stories can keep you stuck. But letting go doesn't mean forgetting or excusing. It means freeing yourself from the weight that keeps you from moving forward. These questions may bring tears, memories, or even relief. They may shine light on places in your heart that have been hidden for a long time. This is where healing begins, in the honest meeting between you and your truth. You don't have to do this alone. If you can, talk to a therapist or counselor. They can help guide you gently through the process. If you cannot find a professional right now, write your thoughts in a journal. Writing helps release feelings and organize your mind. Cry when you need to cry. Scream if you need to scream, even if only in your own space. Don't hold back your emotions. They are signals of your healing. Most importantly, don't ignore the voice inside you anymore. That quiet voice that says, "I want to heal," or "I want peace." That voice is your true self. It is your soul guiding you home. Listening to that voice takes courage, but it is the path to freedom. Healing is not about perfection or rushing. It is about gently peeling back layers, one at a time. It is about being kind to yourself as you walk through memories and feelings. It is about allowing space for the parts of you that have been hurt to finally breathe and grow. As you become aware, you begin to see your story more clearly. You see the pain, yes, but you also see your strength. You see your courage to face the truth. You see your capacity to change and to love yourself in new ways. Remember, healing is a gift you give yourself. It is a choice to no longer be controlled by the past. It is a promise to nurture the child inside you with kindness and care. It is the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where you are the author and you hold the pen. Now let this awareness be your compass. Let it guide you toward the peace and freedom you deserve. Healing starts here, with you, right now. 9. Becoming the parent you always needed. Healing is not only about looking back at the past, it is also about shaping the future. One of the most powerful things that happens when you begin to heal your wounds is that you break the cycle. You stop passing the pain from one generation to the next. You stop handing down the invisible burdens that weigh on hearts and minds. Instead, you create something new, something full of hope and love. When you heal, you become the parent you always needed. This is true whether you have children or not. The way you care for yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you set boundaries all send a message to the world about who you are and what love feels like. Think about the parent you wished for when you were a child. Maybe you wanted someone who listened without judgment. Maybe you longed for someone who showed you kindness, patience, and acceptance. Maybe you needed a voice that said, "You are enough." Now imagine becoming that person, not just for yourself, but for others. Becoming that parent means speaking to yourself with kindness. It means forgiving your mistakes and gently guiding yourself forward instead of criticizing or blaming. It means giving yourself permission to rest when you are tired, to say no when something hurts, and to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. It means listening deeply to your inner child, the part of you that still remembers the pain, the longing, and the dreams. When you listen with love, you help that child feel safe and seen. You tell that child, "I am here for you." This simple act of love can heal old wounds that have been hidden for years. You also become a parent to those around you through your energy and actions. Even if you are not a mother or father, your presence teaches others how to treat themselves and others. You show that love is patient, respectful, and kind. You create a safe space where people can be themselves without fear. This is the true gift of healing, turning wounds into wisdom. The pain you once carried becomes a source of strength. The struggles you faced become lessons that guide you and others toward a better way of living. Your story, with all its ups and downs, becomes a beacon of hope. Breaking the cycle is not easy. It takes courage to face the past, to change old patterns, and to build new ways of being. But it is one of the most important steps you can take, not just for yourself, but for the generations to come. When you become the parent you always needed, you also give yourself permission to grow and change. You stop trying to fit into roles that don't serve you. You stop repeating mistakes that no longer make sense. You open the door to a future filled with possibility. Remember, healing is a journey of small steps. Some days will be easier than others. Some days you might feel like giving up. But keep going. Each step forward is a victory. Each moment of self-love is a triumph. Your mother's story and your story are connected, but they are not the same. You have the power to write a new chapter. You have the power to be gentle with yourself and to create a life where love is real, present, and healing. So now, as you continue this journey, hold on to this truth. You are not defined by the pain you experienced. You are defined by the love you choose to give. Starting with the love you give to yourself. Your healing changes everything. It changes your life, your relationships, and the world around you. And it all begins with becoming the parent you always needed. 10. Your mother is human, and so are you. As you come to the close of this journey, it is important to look at your mother through a new lens. You may have carried a certain image of her for many years, an image shaped by your experiences, your feelings, and your memories. Sometimes she might have seemed like a hero, someone who protected and cared for you. Other times, she might have felt like the source of your pain, the reason for your wounds. But now it is time to see her simply as a human being. Your mother is human. Just like you, she is not perfect. She has her own scars, her own struggles, her own fears. She's a woman who tried her best with the tools she had. Sometimes her best was enough. Sometimes it fell short. But she was trying. She was a little girl once too, full of hopes, dreams, and pain that shaped who she became. This understanding does not erase the hurt or the mistakes. It does not mean that the pain you experienced was okay, or that you have to forget what happened. Healing does not ask you to deny your feelings or pretend that everything was perfect. Instead, it asks you to hold the truth with compassion. When you accept your mother as a human, you open your heart in a new way. You create space for forgiveness, not because you have to, but because it frees you. You create space for peace, not as a distant dream, but as something possible now. You create space for growth, where you can choose new ways to live and love. You and your mother share a deep connection. It is a bond that holds great power. That power was given away long ago, sometimes through pain, sometimes through misunderstanding. But the beautiful truth is this: you can take it back. You can gently and lovingly reclaim your power. Reclaiming your power means understanding your worth is not tied to how your mother treated you. It means knowing that your life is yours to live fully, freely, and with love. It means that your past does not have to dictate your future. Your mother is the key. Not because she holds your power, but because your relationship with her is where you gave it away. Now the key is in your hands. You can unlock the door to freedom, healing, and self-love. This process takes courage. It takes bravery to face the truth, to feel the pain, and to make a new choice. But it is worth it. Because when you begin to heal, you begin to live differently. You begin to see yourself as whole. You begin to speak kindly to yourself and others. You begin to break free from old patterns that no longer serve you. Remember, you are human too. You carry your own wounds and scars. You have made mistakes and faced challenges. But you also carry the strength to heal, to grow, and to love yourself deeply. Your healing journey is a path toward becoming your fullest self. It is a journey of truth, love, and courage. It is not about perfection, but about progress. It is about taking one step at a time, even when the path is hard. Your mother's story and your story are connected, but they are not the same. You have the power to write your own story, a story filled with hope, healing, and happiness. So now, take a deep breath. Look at your mother with new eyes. See her humanity and your own. Feel the love that is waiting to grow. And know this: your healing begins today. You are ready to take back your power. You are ready to live the life you deserve. You are ready to heal. Healing begins with understanding. Your journey to wholeness. Healing doesn't always begin with doing more. Sometimes it starts with finally understanding what was missing. Your relationship with your mother shaped the way you see love, safety, and your own worth. The feelings you carried as a child, whether they were loneliness, fear, doubt, or longing, created patterns that still affect you today. But here's the powerful truth. You have the ability to reframe your story. You are not destined to be trapped by the pain of the past. Instead, you can rise above it. You can choose to see your journey not as a burden, but as a path toward growth and strength. Let this be the beginning of a new chapter in your life. A chapter where you no longer run from your past, but face it with courage and compassion. A chapter where you make peace with the parts of you that still carry the voice of your childhood, the parts that need healing and love. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. This process may not always be easy. Sometimes the truth hurts, but the truth also sets you free. It gives you the chance to take back your power, to create healthier relationships, and to love yourself more deeply than ever before. If this message spoke to you, take a deep breath. Hold it close. Know that every step you take toward healing is a step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. This is English Achieve. We're here to help you grow, not only in your English language skills, but in your mindset and your life. Keep learning, keep healing, keep moving forward. Your best self is waiting,